Adam here with the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have the new 2025 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. So we'll look at the trim levels, some of the interior equipment, the exterior stuff, and then see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 25 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. Now this is the SLT crew cab, so I think there's about 7 different trim levels when you're looking at the 25 or the 3500s. So we'll cover some of that stuff, but for now, put it in drive, go for a spin around. So before we even get too far, we've always got our cell phones with us, and what's great is this has wireless charging, a couple of USB and USB-C chargers down here, and you're gonna have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now what's great about that, text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify, all that good stuff is built right into this huge infotainment screen, makes it very easy to use, it's straightforward, and it's very safe when you're on the go, especially when you're piloting a big truck like this. You don't wanna be messing with your phone, just make it easy when you're on the move. Now, this 2500 SLT, this particular one has the 6.6 liter V8 gas engine, and that's with the 10-speed automatic transmission. Now there's also an optional 6.6 liter turbo diesel, so that would have the Allison 10-speed transmission as well. Now the big difference is going to be the torque, obviously, when you're looking at the diesel, the 25 to the 3500, obviously the towing capacity can change, but it's kind of all over the board what they tow, if they're 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or if you're using the gooseneck. But the biggest load you can tow with the 2500 is going to be about 22,000 pounds. Now, if you go with the gooseneck and the dually and the 3500, I think that goes up to about 36,000 pounds. So there's quite a few different ways to configure these depending on how much you need to tow, whether it's an enclosed trailer or a camper or a large boat. There is certainly enough towing capacity up to that 36,000 pound mark to make these very usable trucks. Now for 2025, there wasn't a lot of huge changes. One thing, it does have the brake controller no matter which trim level you're now looking at, and there's a few other kind of minute things with some of the safety features and other stuff kind of like that. But overall, the general layout and the design of the trucks hasn't changed from the 24s. Now behind the wheel, this is a large truck. If you're not used to driving a 25 or 3500 around, it can be a little bit concerning, but overall, all the safety equipment, the parking sensors in here definitely make it easy to get this truck where you need it to go. Now what's cool about the infotainment screen, like I said, with the wireless Apple CarPlay, it's also got Amazon Alexa built in. It's got the Google Assistant in there. So you can say, take me to Walser Buick GMC in Bloomington. It's gonna give you directions. It will be on the screen. You're, again, not messing with your phone. It's all voice controlled through the steering wheel. Now, speaking of this steering wheel, this is a leather-wrapped heated steering wheel. This one does have the convenience package. So instead of the bench, you actually get the large center console, and these seats are going to be heated as well as ventilated. It's getting a little colder out here in Minnesota as we head towards winter time, so the remote start with the heated seats, it will know the temperature outside. It can turn on the heated steering wheel and heated seats, which is pretty cool. Now, overall, the ride and drive of the truck, I've spent a lot of time in the Sierra 1500s, not as much time in the 2500s, and you think it's gonna be a little bit stiffer, a bouncier ride, obviously, but I'll tell you what, it's not too bad. I was definitely expecting more, especially if you're not towing a trailer around. You think it would be a little bit bouncy, but on the road, it's so comfortable. Now, this one does have the off-road package, so it would add a little bit different skid plating underneath. Comes with the 20-inch wheels with the Goodyear Wrangler tires, and I thought they would be super loud as well, but I was very surprised just how comfortable and quiet it is when you're behind the wheel. Now, the seating position is great. Obviously, like I said, this is a pretty big truck, but with the mirrors, those actually fold in. You can actually click a button and slide them out for the trailering settings, so visibility is really good. Blind spot monitoring here, there's emergency braking, there's adaptive cruise control where you can set 3, 2, or 1 kind of distance ahead of you, which is really cool. But if you don't want any of that stuff, it's very easy to just click on the infotainment screen and you can turn that stuff off. Now let's talk about the truck bed. So one of the things for 25 that did change, all of the beds, whether it's the long box or the short box, will get the side steps. So you're gonna have the one just in front of the rear wheel and then integrated into that rear bumper that also does have those parking sensors back there. So this does get the Multi-Flex Pro tailgate, which is really cool. So you can set it a ton of different ways to make it really simple, whether you're just hauling some lumber around or you gotta jump into the truck to grab something. There's lots of ways that it's usable to even be a tailgate setup, but for the most part, fold it down. It's a very soft open. It's not hard to close either, so that does make it pretty easy. Now this does get a digital gauge cluster, so you can kind of keep track of all your pertinent information in there, whether it's your trip computer stuff, some of your radio, some ways you can adjust if you want to see something on the left side of the gauge or the right side of the gauge. And then you've also got an off-road mode you can select, or just that normal mode. Now this one does have the 4 high, 4 low, 2 high, or just the automatic mode for the 4-wheel drive system. So again, whether that's wintertime, towing something, you can set that, makes it really easy just right here on the fly. Plus, this one does, like I say, have the remote start, brake controller in here, and it's dual zone climate control. So both you and your passenger are going to be comfortable. The rear seats, we didn't even touch on that. There is a huge amount of space back there, obviously, and those are going to be heated seats as well. So if you got the kiddos in the truck, they'll be nice and toasty, and there's also vents and charging back there. Plus, there's a cool kind of storage compartment, whether that's in the backrest, the center console folds down, or those seats do fold up as well. So there's lots of usability out of these pickups. So just a few other little things in here. This one does get the home link for the garage door opener, so you can program that in. I mean, you can go all the way up to the Denali Ultimate. These trucks, I think, start at kind of the high $40,000 price range and go up to almost $100,000. So there's lots of different ways to configure, whether you want all of the equipment or just a base work truck. There's certainly ways to set up some of these Sierra 25 and 3500s. And there is a ton of power, especially with the diesel when you're getting almost 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. I think that truck did 0 to 60 when Car and Driver was testing it in like 6.5 seconds or less. So these things have a ton of torque and power. Like I said, obviously, if you're towing 20 to 36,000 pounds, you're gonna wanna make sure it's got the juice. And with the 10-speed Allison transmission, obviously they're making those forever, so there's lots of reliability out of these platforms. But overall, I mean, obviously GMC, you'd expect comfort, luxury, technology. I mean, all of it is here. It's such a great drive. Like I said, I was a little worried, it might be a little bit bouncier than the 1500. Obviously, it's a little more heavy duty with the HD capacity, but it's great. It's so quiet in here. It really did blow me away. You know, whether it's the gas or the diesel engine you're looking at, they're both very quiet. They're both very comfortable. The 10-speed is just flawless in here. The infotainment screen's easy to use. And, you know, whether you're, like I said, towing that large trailer or whether it's maybe the camper going on a long road trip, you could absolutely eat up a ton of miles behind the wheel of this truck, be comfortable, and have everything you need right at arm's reach. So I think if you're in the market, if you're maybe shopping the Chevrolet or looking at the Ram 3500 or 2500, I think you gotta get out. Take one of these for a drive, get behind the wheel, open that multi-flex tailgate, check it all out. There's lots of great equipment in here and tons of stuff to like in the new 25 Sierra HD lineup. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 25 Sierra 2500. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.